Yep.
All right. So here we are, my first interview. This is my good friend Dan Kenny. He is the bassist of Suicide Silence.
Hello.
I'm really excited to have him as my first interview ever. We're basically going to talk about his band and MMA, and I got a couple questions, so here we go. First question for Dan is, how long has Suicide Silence been a band? How many records have you made, and are you an original member? That's actually 3 questions.
No, I am not an original member. I joined the band in December of 2008. First show was in Australia. Awesome. The band's been together since like 2001, I think, or 2, so a really long time. And we have 5 records. And 5, and I've been on 4 of them. So 5 records.
5 records. All right, cool. All right, so Suicide Silence, you guys are a metal band. You're pretty popular amongst the metal genre, but if you had to explain for someone who doesn't know what kind of music Suicide Silence is, how would you describe Suicide Silence?
Aggressive and scary, relentless and mechanical, and it's like a horror movie, but music.
Yeah.
It's like MMA, but music. If you're going to do it in different genres of sports or movies or type of person, I guess it'd be like a serial killer. I don't know. It's very aggressive and it's technical music. It's like, I try to explain to people, older people on planes or something. It's like, you know Metallica, right? Yeah. Well, it's like 40 times crazier than that. They're like, oh, okay. Ooh.
It's some heavy shit. That's what it is. All right, cool. So that's Suicide Silence, and if you guys don't know Suicide Silence, then you should go check them out. But I want to find out a little bit more about Dan Kenny, bassist of Suicide Silence, and also MMA lover. So first couple questions are going to be about you as an artist and musician, and then we'll transition over to MMA. All right, so I just want to know a little bit about how you got started. You know, like, did your dad buy you a guitar? Did you watch VH1 or MTV and get inspired?
My mom rented me a bass and a guitar for me and my brother to both play, and we rented it until we liked it, and then we finally bought our own. And I learned from a teacher down the street, and then I was infatuated with it, so I started playing it every single day. And in high school, I would not go to parties on weekends so I could sit in my garage and play. And it ended up working out for me later because I ended up partying a lot after that. And then I just fixated on it, turned into my life, turned into my world. And I'm 32 and I'm still playing the bass. It's my cousin showed me all the metal when I was young. Showed me like Sepultura, Metallica, Korn, Slayer, all on the same day, and fell in love with metal ever since.
All right, so Korn, Slayer, all that. Would you say that those are the bands that influenced you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so this transitions to my next question. Those are the ones that influenced you, but what are your favorite bands right now? So it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, metal, but I know you on a personal level, and it could be something that people wouldn't expect. But so right now, what are your favorite bands?
I really like this band called Code Orange. They're awesome. I still listen to a lot of old Typo Negative. It's hard to get into new stuff, but I'm really trying. Recently liked Kendrick Lamar. He's fun.
That was one of my questions. I was going to ask you, is there any music that you like that, from knowing you're a metal guy, people might be shocked to find out?
Gangster rap, hard. Eazy-E, Brother Lynch Hung, Andre Nicotina, Dre Dog. I love rap, Bone Thugs and Harmony. I'm pretty rappy, but...
That's where me and Dan differ. I'm like, no rap.
You like Bone Thugs, right?
No, I mean, I can't even name one. Crossroads.
First of the month.
Crossroads? Is that a song?
Yeah.
Okay, that's yeah. If you gave me $2 million right now, I couldn't name it.
3?
No,
Not
that was
for
one.
Million?
No.
First of the month.
No. Maybe like, yeah, no. I'm not versed in
Well,
rap.
she doesn't get any money.
Okay, so we talked about some bands you like. I want to get into some interesting questions about performing. So, I'm an MMA fighter. You are a musician. We both perform. I want to know, do you get nervous when you perform?
Yeah. Well, like you and like me, we practice a lot and we rehearse a lot and we train, all for the fucking lights on you. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about the lights on you and performing in front of people and showing off your stuff. Yes, I still get nervous, and if I didn't get nervous, then I don't think I should even be doing this anymore. Sometimes I don't get nervous. Couple shots in, you know what I mean? I'm just like, fuck it.
Let's go.
Yeah. No, I still get nervous, especially for the big shows, playing in front of 20, 30, 40,000 people. I'm just like, and after the first song, it all goes away.
Yeah, I've actually had the pleasure of watching Dan beforehand, let's say, warm up like a fighter would, and he literally stretches, he shadow boxes. Yes, I've seen him take a few shots, but if I could, I would too take a few shots.
Like Tank Abbott.
Yeah, and I hear there's fighters that do other, or back in the day did other stuff to
take a whole pint of vodka before they go out there.
Can't do that nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen Dan perform, and yes, I do know he gets nervous, and I think that's awesome that he said that if you don't get nervous, then you probably shouldn't be doing it, because I think nervousness comes from the love of it. You care so much, you want to do so well.
Absolutely.
So, all right, good to know. That's kind of one of my harder hitting questions. I'm not going to get too deep. One of the harder hitting questions will be, what do you think the hardest thing about either being in a band or on tour is?
Leaving home.
Leaving home.
You miss your bed, your shower, your friends, your family, your significant other, your dog. You miss all these things, and then but when you finally get to come home, it feels really good. It's like Christmas every time.
Yeah.
But leaving home is hard. It's like, thank God I don't have to go to like war or something for like 6 months to a year. But I'm gone for 2 months, you know, and it definitely sucks. But when you come back, it's very rewarding. Hardest part is leaving home for sure. Thankfully, I don't have any kids yet, but that would make it even worse.
Oh, I can't imagine. I mean, maybe in a couple of years we'll look back on this video and be like, oh yeah, remember when we didn't have kids? Okay, well then, opposite of that, what is the best thing about being in a band and
the girls? No, I'm just kidding. No.
The groupies.
Just the rush. I wish I could sell. Like I always said, I wish I could sell the drug that I feel. It's not a drug, but when I get on stage and I'm like, oh, if I could sell that to people, I would be rich.
Yeah.
The best part is the rush I get from playing heavy music and seeing a cool mosh pit.
Yeah, because you provoked that, you caused that.
Yeah, and I always feel bad when I see people getting carted away and stuff, broken noses, broken wrists, broken knees.
Don't feel bad. That's part of it.
I feel bad. It's their fault though.
I don't feel bad when my opponent gets injured. You know, like that's what they're signing up for. And if you go into a mosh pit, like I've been going into mosh pits since I was 14 years old. From that first day, I saw people get fucked up in the mosh pit, and I was like, all right, I know what I'm getting myself into. And, you know, it's just part of it.
I've gotten only one bloody nose ever when I was 19 in a mushroom head pit.
Mushroom head. Oh, all right. Well, yeah. All right. Cool. I think I've said this before too. I said if I could bottle the feeling that I get after a win,
we'd be rich.
We'd be rich.
We'd be rich. And I wish I could sell sneezes too. You know how sneezes?
The feeling.
Achoo. That feels good.
Well,
just sell like here's 6 sneezes.
Do you think that whole
Give
thing?
you $20.
You've heard that
the orgasm thing.
9 sneezes or 10 sneezes?
Or I just thought one is like 30% or like 10%.
Same thing, I guess, right?
Well, then I'll sell them. We might as well sell orgasms too while we're at it.
Yeah, like I think that's.
People will be like, "Fuck sneezes! I ain't buying sneezes.
Give me
the good shit.
2 of those.
Give me the good shit.
I'll take 2. All right, cool. So I'm going to ask you some MMA questions next. If you don't know, Dan Kenny and I met at an MMA fight. It was
Pachanga Casino, I think a Bellator event.
It was Bellator, yeah. It was Pachanga Casino, a Bellator, and we met through mutual friends. He turned out to be a huge MMA fan, and I turned out to be a huge music fan, and we've been buds ever since. So, I feel cool asking this guy about MMA because he's not just somebody that's like, yeah, they get in there and they punch each other. Like, he wrestled when he was younger, and he knows. Did you ever do jiu-jitsu?
No, but I would choose that over boxing.
Yeah.
It just seems more fun to me.
Yeah, he's very intelligent about the sport, and we talk MMA all the time. So, for the viewers out there, when did you first start watching MMA?
Local video store by my house.
Ooh, video store.
VHSs.
For
So,
you youngins, that's when you pop them in.
There's a whole row of WWF or WCW. I'd rent those, and then one day I was looking at the very bottom row, and it was like UFC 1 through 6 or 1 through 8 on VHS, and I rented one, and then I went back the next day, rented 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I watched all these weird fights of bare knuckle dudes, 400 pounds versus 180 pounds, and I was just like, Jesus, what is this? It's definitely real. That blood is not fake, and fell in love with it ever since, and still like it a lot.
Yeah. All right, cool. Actually, that picture right there is from the first ever UFC fight.
Yeah.
So, cool. All right. So, you've told me this before, and I can't remember actually. I'm actually curious. Who is your favorite fighter, past or present? If you had to pick one, I know.
Oh my god.
And I'm not going to be offended if you don't say me. So.
Not saying people that I know. Obviously, I love watching people that I know fight because there's no other feeling than the feeling you get watching someone you personally know fight. It's fucking nerve-wracking. But I don't know. I get a crazy feeling when I see BJ Penn walk out to the cage, and I love watching him fight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of not what it used to be anymore, but it's still, yeah. It's got to be him, or I love Frank Mir.
Frank Mir?
Yeah, I don't know. I love him too. And then obviously you got Dan Henderson, Chuck Liddell, and people that are awesome. The whole 205-pound division back in the day was like the funnest thing in the world to watch. Yeah, I don't really have a favorort.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's like when people say pick your favorite music.
I can pick a favorite in each weight class maybe, but I don't know. Yeah.
That's how much he knows. He can name different weight classes. Yeah, That's awesome. I guarantee this guy knows a million times more about MMA than me. So
Asperger's.
I like to call him the MMA Rain Man. So. All right. Well, here's a random question. If you could, because we like to joke around, we always say, if we could trade spots, trade jobs for a day, we would. I would be a rock star, and he would be an MMA fighter.
But it would have to be for a fight and for a concert.
Not
for
like
training.
Practice. Yeah, exactly. No, I want to feel
like,
the
this
rush.
is boring. I'm like, this sucks.
This is like, ooh.
Oh.
All right. Well, if you could choose to swap places with one MMA fighter, it doesn't have to be your favorite MMA fighter, but I think like someone like Cowboy Cerrone or something, who they put their personal life out there a lot, and you see what they do. If you had to choose one MMA fighter to switch places for a day with, who would you choose?
I mean, Donald sounds great. Conor McGregor sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to fly in a private jet, and I want to do all that cool stuff and drive those cool cars. No, I don't know. Probably, I don't know. Donald Cerrone looks like the funnest, to be honest. Wakeboarding, skydiving, bull riding.
I just want to be his friend. I want to be near him.
You have a better chance of being his friend than me.
Actually, we're not buddies, but I've talked to him before, and he's a sweet guy too. Yeah. So.
Probably him or BJ Penn, just to be able to chill in Hawaii for a day.
Yeah. I want to go to Hawaii.
You should.
Okay, so I guess this is kind of an interesting question, just because you know so much about MMA. What's your favorite moment in MMA? Could be a favorite fight, or let's say a crazy weigh-in scuffle, or there's been some interesting things. It's a hard one.
I love a good comeback, but I can't think of one right now. I remember getting super bad goosebumps when Ken Shamrock fought Tito Ortiz, and Tito Ortiz walked out to Limp Bizkit.
Recently?
No, it was UFC 40, I think.
Oh, okay.
And had like flames, fires, fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
It was so crazy. And I remember watching that, and I was like, I had the worst goosebumps ever. And I was just like, this is kind of WWF-esque, but I was just like, this is about to be a sick-ass fight. It wasn't. Tito just beat his ass. But it was super fun. And I don't know, another memory I really liked was when Paul Daly fought Nick Diaz. That was super fun. I don't know. That fight, I was there live, and it just rings in my head. They're both dropping each other, and I'm just like, fuck yeah. That's kind of drunk too.
Yeah, well,
it's good memory.
Those fights are the best. I'll throw mine out there for sure. I have not seen a fight where I was more entertained than Robbie Lawler
and Roy McDonald. Yeah.
I don't really do my homework per se a lot, where I go back and watch fights, but I can watch that fight on replay over and over and over.
Yeah. Maybe we'll watch it tonight.
All right. Speaking of memories, I know you happen to be friends not just with myself, but a lot of other MMA fighters. Do you have any interesting or fun stories you want to tell us?
Sure. Josh Barnett is a friend of ours, and he came to the Revolver Golden God Awards, and he was up for most medal athlete, and drunk Dan over here had Jack Daniels in my corner, like Nick Swartzen says. I said, you're a big wrestling fan. You know those chops that they do? Give me one. And so I take off my shirt in front of a big party. Foo Fighters over there, Lemmy from Motorhead. Everyone's like kind of around. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So I let him chop me as hard as he can in the chest. Knocked the wind out of me. Stopped my heart. I fell to the floor.
It stopped your heart?
Not really.
Okay.
It just hurts. It hurts so bad.
I felt like my heart stopped.
And then you just see in a few pictures that are taken, Josh is just laughing so hard. And you see me go. There's pictures of me. Maybe we could edit it in. But with my chest so red. Bright red.
Gosh.
And his hands this big.
Oh. I hope I have the editing skills.
That's a good story about an MMA friend of ours.
All right, that's good. All right, cool. All right, well, last question. Do you have any, or do you think that MMA and music have any similarities?
Absolutely. I think almost everything has similarities in music, but I think especially MMA has similarities with heavy metal, punk rock, and hardcore. Because it's aggressive. You know, some people, like, they go to see sports on, and they're like, okay, baseball, football, and then they see, if they're conservative, they'll see MMA and be like, that is so shocking and violent. But then again, you give them some iPad and you play, you know, Willie Nelson or fucking Hootie and the Blowfish, and then you play Pantera, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? You know? So MMA is like the weird one, and metal is like the weird one, but it's the best one.
Yeah.
And the funnest ones.
I agree, and I think that's why we get along so well.
Yep.
So. All right, I'm going to give you a chance. Speaking of sponsors, what I was going to say. First, where can my followers, all 20 of them, where can they find you on social medias? What are your handles?
Well, it's at Dan Kenny on Twitter and Instagram, and my Facebook's actually private. And then at Suicide Silence on Instagram, Twitter, suicidesilence.net, Facebook.com, Suicide Silence, Google it, whatever. You find this shit anywhere.
All right, cool. I hope to get some of the other guys on here. Dan's been my bestie for a long time, but through knowing him, I've gotten pretty close to the guys in the band, and each one of them is unique and fun, and I don't really know their stories, to be honest. I'd be interested in hearing their background and how they got started and, you know, who influenced them and that kind of stuff.
Well, if we talk to Alex, you're going to need a longer video, maybe an hour and a half. The dude likes to talk.
Okay, well, that's it. Thank you guys for watching.
We're going to go see it.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go see it and have some dinner, and it's going to be awesome. So check out Suicide Silence. Follow Dan Kenny. Share this. This is my first video ever, so please don't judge us. At least I have great content. I have a great guest, and yeah, tune in next time. Thank you.